Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Sunday, November 19th. Ian Cameron flying solo for a very abbreviated, short, to-the-point edition of the Ice Guys. I will be leaving for the Grey Cup in a few minutes, and this is going to be just a very, very short show. Alex, and by the way, that's why Alex is not here. I said I'm going to have to record this ahead of time. I've got to leave before noon Eastern, so we're going to have this be a very, very short show. We wanted to get some kind of content out there for you for the Sunday games, so that's what we're doing. Quickly recapping Saturday, just some of the noteworthy games. Ottawa wins 2-1 in a shootout over Minnesota in the Global Series game in Sweden yesterday. 4-3 Philadelphia. They keep playing good hockey right now. They beat Vegas. Nashville 4-2 over Chicago. Very unfortunate loss for Edmonton, considering they had the better of the play, heavily outshot Tampa Bay, but shots don't win games, goals do. And Edmonton gives up a 6th spot, and they lose to the Lightning 6-4. The Islanders find a way to snap their losing streak with a 5-4 shootout win. The question is it enough to save Lane Lambert? There's some speculation running rampant that he's probably going to get fired after this game against Calgary, possibly, I should say, regardless of the results. So that'll be interesting to see if that still happens, or maybe that buys him a little bit of time. The fact that the Islanders finally get a win last night against Calgary. Winnipeg with a 5-2 win against Arizona. Boston 5-2 against Montreal. Shout out to our guest yesterday, Kyle Bond. That was his best bet, the Bruins on the puck line. Carolina 4-2 win against Pittsburgh last night. Much needed for them after a bad game at home against Philadelphia. Rangers with a 5-3 win against the Devils. Spoiling the party for Jack Hughes in his return to the lineup from injury. The Rangers get a nice 5-3 win on the road against New Jersey. Washington adds to the Blue Jackets' woes. Capitals beat the Jackets 4-3. Although credit to, the very much, under the microscope, Johnny Gaudreau, who did score last night, responding in a positive manner to some degree following the benching the other night in the previous game. I don't know what happened to the Dallas Stars last night. Very disheartening for me. With them, because I used them as best bet for the show, and up 3-0, looking great in complete control. And they got into penalty trouble, and it was not one of their better games defensively or for Jake Ottinger by any stretch. And give Colorado credit. They showed what they are still capable of offensively if you give them just a little opening. And they took that opening and they ran with it. Once they got it to 3-2 at the end of the second period, could see the momentum was kind of slipping away from Dallas. Real bad loss for them, just the way a team like that, you expect them to nail it down. They weren't able to. Credit goes to Colorado, coming back from a 3-0 deficit, 6 unanswered goals to win that game 6-3. Vancouver beaten at home by Seattle 4-3 last night. Canucks maybe cooling off a little bit. And LA with a 5-1 win over the Blues. The Blues have just been a disaster in these two games here this weekend, and they play again tonight. And we'll get to that in just a moment. All right, let's get to the Sunday games. While we do have one Sunday game at the time of this recording already in the books, Toronto with a 4-3 win over the Minnesota Wild in overtime, almost like a fairy tale ending. The final game of the Global Series in Stockholm, Sweden. Fairy tale ending that William Nylander scores the overtime winner. Just, you couldn't script anything better than that, so, especially if you're a Leaf fan. All right, let's get to it. Columbus, Philadelphia, rapid fire. Philadelphia -160, home favorite, 6.5 the total. I don't want the Jackets. I ain't laying a price this high with Philadelphia. Easy pass for me in this game. A total that could go either way as far as I'm concerned. 6.5 feels a little high for a Philly game. Columbus has really been trending over the total, though. So, and series history actually has been trending over. So I guess I'd give a small lean to the over, but nothing I really like in that game side or total. Vegas, Pittsburgh. Vegas -120, road favorites. 6.5 the total in this game. I do like the over in this one. I grabbed a 6 when it was shaded to the over a little earlier this morning. It's up to 6.5 in most spots. For Pittsburgh, you're probably going to see Magnus Hellberg, who is currently their backup goalie. in between the pipes because it was Jari last night against Carolina. Vegas on this road trip, man, they've been in some shootouts here. It's the defensive game hasn't nearly been as tight. And if you actually look Vegas versus Pittsburgh, recent head-to-head meetings, lots and lots of goals between the two teams. So I'm going to go over here, 6.5 for the Golden Knights and the Penguins. Buffalo, Chicago, Buffalo minus 175, road favorites, 6.5 being the total. I think when you look at this Buffalo-Chicago game right now, some things that are worth mentioning at this point in time. You know, when you look at it, we've got a Buffalo team that's trying to get back on track. Chicago on a back-to-back, rest advantage for the Sabres. I think that definitely benefits them. I know even though Alex isn't on this show right now with me, I've got his voices in my head right now saying Chicago home games on Sunday nights. They're not very good in these spots. And obviously we saw them in one of these games a couple weeks ago against New Jersey, and they lost that game at home. I mean, I certainly probably could only look at the Buffalo side, but minus 175 with a team that's, just lost Tage Thompson, kind of battling confidence issues right now. That's not exactly a price I'm enamored with Buffalo. Feels like a good spot for them to bounce back, get back on track. But for me, not interested at minus 175. Over 6.5, yes, I do like that a little bit. I think we will see both of these teams be able to find the back of the net here, Sabres and Blackhawks. And my bargain bin special of the night comes from this game. And I will get to that a little bit later. And last game, St. Louis, Anaheim. Anaheim minus 110 to minus 115. Slight home favorites. 6.5 the total, shaded to the under. I like Anaheim here in this price range, minus 110, minus 115. They've lost a couple in a row since returning home from that Nashville, Colorado road trip. I definitely think they'll be chomping at the bit, wanting to get back on track here. They're going to feel they got robbed of at least 1 point in that Florida game on Friday night. As we talked about on yesterday's show, that Silverberg goal should have counted. It's absolutely absurd that they said no goal, and clearly you could see that puck fully across the goal line. I think Anaheim comes out ready, pounces on a St. Louis team that's been absolutely horrendous here in these first two games of this West Coast swing. The San Jose game and, of course, the LA game last night. Absolutely dreadful. Third road game in 4 nights. Probably going to see Joel Hofer in net because it was Jordan Binnington last night against LA. So I like Anaheim here, minus 110, minus 115. And I think when it's all said and done, they're going to end up being the better team this year. It's cheap price with the Ducks in a better spot, more rest advantage, struggling St. Louis Blues team on this road trip. And St. Louis hasn't been good on the road this year. A lot of their wins have been at home. So they're having issues playing good hockey away from St. Louis right now. So Anaheim for me, minus 110, minus 115 in that game. All right, good stuff. Make sure, again, $9.99 US per month for the Ice Guys family plan. Make sure you subscribe to that. All right, let's get to it. Bargain bin special of the night. We're going back to Buffalo, Chicago. It's going to be J.J. Peterka for the Buffalo Sabres. J.J. Peterka plus 300. Barely meets the criteria, plus 300 or better, but it does. He's been one of the constants for the Sabres as far as goal scoring lately, and he'll be asked to step up even more for them offensively now that Tage Thompson is injured. So J.J. Peterka, Buffalo Sabres, plus 300 for my bargain bin special of the night. And my best bet for this Sunday slate, hopefully we can wipe the awful taste out of our mouth from that Dallas game last night. That was very disappointing. But we're going to go with Anaheim. Minus 110 in this game is still out there at Bet Online. Pretty much even money. The better team, in my opinion. The rest advantage. Pissed off about the way that Florida game ended, where they feel they got jobbed. And St. Louis, I mean, what is there to like about what we've seen from the St. Louis Blues against the Kings and the Sharks to want to back them, especially on a back-to-back on the road and their third road game in 4 nights. So Anaheim for me, minus 110 against St. Louis for my best bet for this Sunday card. All right, I told you it would be a short show. It is. That's a wrap. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Hit the like button on the way out. We'll, of course, be back with Alex tomorrow on Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern time or actually, you know what? We're going to probably do the show 2 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow because my college football show is being pushed back a little bit. So tomorrow we'll be on the air, likely at 2 p.m. Eastern, full show as normal. Thanks for watching. I'm Ian Cameron. Enjoy the games and good luck, and we'll see you again on Monday for another edition of the Ice Guys.